Okay, so I'd like to walk you through the technology budget for the 17-18 school year. I have a format similar to Michelle's, but maybe just a little different, and again, it's the same format that I had used last year as well. So I'm going to go through the major categories, the actual object categories, and we're going to break it down a little bit, and I'm going to show you what the 17-18 proposed budget is and what the 16-17 budget was last year, and whether we have an increase or a decrease. So the 300 categories is the purchase, professional, and technical services. And what is lumped into this category of the 300 objects is the Microsoft Campus Agreement. So that's everything Microsoft that the district runs from Windows to Office 365 to the SQL server. So it's everything Microsoft is included in that. And then we also have the consulting and the help desk support is included in the purchase professional services. And then we have a little bit of money in there for staff training and development, so I can send some of my staff, to stay current on technology so they can continue to support. So what you're looking at here is a total for this year of $246,000, and you're seeing a decrease of $76,175. So we brought down some of the consulting fees at this point. We're becoming more and more self-sufficient each year in that area. But a lot of the decrease there is, last year when I stood in front of you, we had in technology, we had 2 contracted positions on staff. And we contract them through a company called Quest Tech. And they are also our help desk support company. So last year we had presented a proposal to you to bring those 2 staff members internal and make them Pennridge employees. So at the beginning of the 2016 school year, on July 1st, we brought one of those positions from the contracted position into an internal position, and that's where you're seeing a lot of that decrease from. And that was the assistant database administrator position. This year, we hope to go forward with the second part of that proposal. We're at the end of a 3-year contract with Quest Tech for a technician. We've gone through 3 different people within that 3-year contracted position because we can't keep them. So we're going to go through with that proposal again that we had presented, that I'd like to bring that one contracted position in as an internal position. That contract's up at the end of June, and so we're hoping to roll some of the money out of this budget into the personnel budget then to cover the costs for that employee. So that's where you're seeing a decrease from last year, and then we'll see hopefully another decrease this year, but it'll be transferred into the personnel budget. Is there any questions on that? Okay, very good. Oh, I have a clicker. I don't have that. Finally brought a clicker down here. So the 400s then, moving on, are purchase property services, and this is where a lot of our maintenance contracts are lumped together, and then this is also computer maintenance and repairs, and has some money built in there for AP radio install. We might need some additional cabling to make sure that our coverage at the middle schools is, at the high school right now we have just about 100% AP coverage, access point coverage, wireless coverage. We have radios, AP wireless radios to install at the middle schools and the elementary schools as well. So I have some money built in there for some of the installation work on that project. The maintenance contracts are VMware, so that's our server farm. We have to maintain the server, so that's maintenance there. We have an email archiver, that's Barracuda, that's rolled up into there. And then we have an MDM, a mobile device manager called AirWatch, and that's where we manage our iPads through at this point. So there is an increase there of $14,850. I had to pad the computer maintenance repairs a little bit more because as things become older within the district, it's not covered by warranty anymore. So this year I had to put a little bump into computer maintenance and repairs. Hopefully as we're getting more and more on the computer replacement plan, that will come down because everything will always be under warranty, but we're not quite there yet. So that's why we are seeing an increase there. Any questions on that one? Then the second half of the purchase property services is the technology leases. And this is where you're going to see the one-to-one initiative, the leasing. So if you remember last year, I think we tried to bring everything now into the 400s. everything into technology. At one point, some of this was budgeted in curriculum. We're trying to pull everything in, as Sean said, into technology now that has to do with technology. So you can see the breakout now of the 4 years of one-to-one. It's gone down each year. You can see the estimate for the new year, which would be the new 9th grade class coming in, is at $126,000. When we started, it was actually at $176,000. So this is actually going to be our 5th year of one-to-one. So we're through an entire cycle at the end of June here, which means it's going to be kind of an interesting June because this is the first year we have to pack everything up and send it back to the leasing company. So I'll let you know how that goes. But that cost is coming down. The cost of the device has come down. The cost of the EDP has come down. So we have a better handle on that number now. Then you'll also see in here the elementary teacher laptop lease, which we started last year. This year is the middle school teacher's turn. They're the only teachers in the district who do not have a new device at this point. So again, we want to get them on that replacement plan so we're not constantly chasing the heels of older technology. We want to keep the technology as fresh as we can because it needs to be usable, it needs to be current so it can deliver the content to the students. The other thing that is in here is the STEM laptop lease. So everything for STEM except the laptops are in the curriculum program improvement. But again, keeping with, let's keep this technology, this normal quote-unquote technology under the technology budget. That's why you're going to see the STEM laptop lease there as well. And then the network switches, we have a little higher number in here than you're looking at with the contract because that's where we thought we were going to be with the lease. We're still working with this new company, so that number is probably coming down. So overall, we're increasing by about $72,000 here, due largely to the middle school laptop lease and the STEM laptop lease coming in. We've had some reductions in the one-to-one, so it's kind of offsetting, and we're coming out with $72,000 increase in the 400s just for leasing. So, any questions there? You guys are good. All right, I must be doing a great job. Okay, so the 500 category or the object code is other purchase services, and this where we're actually seeing our WAN services that the contract is up for, as well as our WAN services. So the WAN is the regional wide area network, and that's what's coming from the IU to us, and then we have the wide area network, which is internal throughout the district. So they are 2 different charges. You have to pay 2 different providers. This year we're bringing that WAN service into the technology budget, so we're seeing an increase here. The other increase is we now have the general property and liability insurance line item in here that I don't believe was in the budget last year. So you see that little bit of an increase there as well as it's spread out among all the divisions. And then there's travel for the technicians because again, just like Michelle has people traveling all the time, the techs are traveling between the buildings all the time. And we do regionalize them, but it's still, still cost to have them running around the district. This 600 object code is software and supplies. And I think just like you've heard everybody who has now presented a budget to you, you should know this by now, that the change of state account codes, we're not using the 700s anymore, so the non-capital is now all into the 600s. So what I tried to do in my breakdown here was add the 2016, 17 600s plus the 700s, so you could kind of see what the total was last year. So what's in this bigger ticket item here is any of our subscriptions. So our software subscriptions, we have Power School subscription is in here, eFinance Plus subscriptions in here, InfoSnap, which is the registration package, that subscription's in here. We have iBoss, which is web content filtering, Board Docs lands in here, the new board management system that we're going to get up and running. And then they really, I don't know, they did this really weird because now there's also, we're getting some hardware in here. So We're going to be implementing a new backup server solution, so that gets thrown in here. Middle school technology, so the teachers are getting their new technology, and we're now infusing technology into the middle schools as well. They've been kind of neglected for a while. So we're still working through the exact device that is going into the middle schools, and what that device is and how much it costs will depend on how many units we can instill into infuse into the middle schools. So you're going to have more of that plan coming at the technology meeting in May, so you can see what the plan is for technology at the middle schools now, because they need a little bit of attention now. Just ask them. The other thing included in here would be any kind of printers, projectors. Again, we're trying to get on a replacement plan, any kind of adapters, any kind of docking stations, and then all the consumables, anything that the tech department needs, any kind of cabling, any kind of bulbs for the projectors, new shelving that we might need. All supplies are coming in here. So we are decreasing this by $61,000. At this point, the decrease is coming because there were a couple big ticket items that came out of non-capital last year, and that was the purchase of the iPads, and we replaced 6 middle school labs last year, PPI labs. So that's why we don't quite have that big of a ticket item in there this year, and that's why you're seeing a little bit of a decrease in there. Any questions there? And then lowly 700, which is left, is technology infrastructure. Last year we had it set at $25,000. It's set at $25,000 again this year. This is for any kind of infrastructure issue that comes up throughout the year. So if through the network refresh somehow we missed a switch somewhere and we need to go in with a new switch, or we need to go in with a new cabinet, or one of our tape drives dies or something, this is kind of our infrastructure account here. So if we do have an issue, we have a little bit of money set aside here. So we're not increasing that at all, so that's a 0 increase. And then that brings us to the end of the total, I should say the grand total. So the grand total budget for 17-18 for technology is $1,950,253. There is an increase of $34,830. But I think we're keeping pretty track with what we're trying to do and what we're trying to accomplish throughout the district. I was pretty pleased with that increase. So, and that's what I have for you. Any questions?
I have a question not related to the finance of it, but related to technology. And it's something I don't need an answer tonight, but maybe I want to ask now for the next meeting. I know some of the students who have AP classes, they have a lot of summer work, and I know some parents have said about having letting those kids have access sooner to the computers over the summer. So I'm just wondering if it's something that you could look into about if they turn their computer in and could get it back sooner than the end of August, because they have summer work and a lot of it needs to be done on the computer.
So we can certainly take that under consideration. So yeah, I don't think we should have a problem with that, because when we redid the teachers last year, I mean, we did them within like a 2-week window when we had to re-image all the teacher computers, and we won't have to go through that this year again, thank goodness, because we're all on Windows 10. So I'll talk to Danielle about it and see what kind of plan we can come up with for those students.
Right, and if we could just discuss that we bring, talk about it at the next technology meeting.
I'll make a note of it.
Okay, good. All right, thank you.
Anything else? Or?
Looks like we're good, thank you. That was a pretty small increase, and you seem to be doing a lot with $2 million. So
Very good.
Sean told me that, and I agree with him.
Thank you.
So thank you.